A little bit about how I started in real estate. So, 2017, I asked a particular high net worth individual I work with um, if I wanted $1 million in 10 years, the stock market or real estate. So, the conclusion of the answer basically was you could do both as long as you immerse yourself in either one and pursue it wholeheartedly. However, anecdotally, I was looking at what he was doing. So this is someone who made the majority of their money on real estate, and later the stock market became an idea that was basically fun. I looked at that the most. Right, real estate was the start. Also, I thought my temperament was better suited for real estate. I did try the stock market a little bit. Didn't really like it. Didn't like the lack of control. Right, so you don't have as much ability to kind of manipulate um, uh, value, right? So I started reading as much as I could about real estate, right? So books about acquiring real estate, books about managing real estate strategies, right? Real estate tax incentives, funding, things like that. And then I watched a large portion of podcasts geared towards real estate and investing in general. But I probably watched a few hours a day, every single day. That's what I drove with. I still do that. Um, but the key was I immersed myself into learning first, right? With that, I bought my first home in 2018 with the intention of renting that home later on. However, I didn't buy my first investment until 2020. But 2019, I saved up as much money as I could. I probably lived on, I don't know, maybe a third of my income or less. And uh, I saved up a good portion of money to be able to come up with a down payment. What I found though, being self-employed, is difficult to receive funding, right? So banks look at that as less reliable than a W-2 job. So I had to come up with an alternative strategy, and there are several. One I found was seller financing, right? So you call a seller, talk to a seller. If they have a lot of equity in the home, they can carry the note for you, or basically they become the bank, and you can negotiate a period as to which you can refinance and or sell or pay off the remaining balance with your own funds. So that became a strategy that made a lot of sense to me personally. There's tons of ways to do it. That's one that made sense to me. So I began calling. I called when I had $5,000. I called when I had $8,000. I called when I had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I called, right? That's hard, right? You get rejected consistently. You get hung up on. People don't want to hear that. So I did that every day, though. I did that every single day. I called sellers that I thought would, either had properties that I was interested in, or I thought would be receptive to a seller finance in some capacity based on how I researched the property, right? Heard a lot of no's. Called for about 8-9 months. Probably made 800 calls. Probably had 10 of which were receptive, and then ultimately a couple that were seriously interested, and then one who I closed on. I closed the deal. So the key though was being consistent, right? Just knowing you want to get that shit done and just continually making an effort to follow through on it, because it's not going to be given to you. It's difficult. A lot of rejection, a lot of hard work in terms of being consistent, not only learning but taking action. You can learn all you want, but if you don't apply that and then take action with it, it's not going to help you. It'll be for nothing. So that was kind of how I started. Just a kind of a quick overview, and I can dive a little bit more in the future on terms of strategies, maybe seller finance strategies in general, or other non-QM or non-qualified mortgages. But that's a little bit about how I started.